Exams, an inevitable part of every student's life. It's dreadful and scary, yet I enrolled for grad school and had to go through it again. What was I thinking? Anyway, I just had my first exam for this semester, and it was on quantum mechanics. I've been studying for it for the whole week, but only got to do some intense studying over the weekends. I wanted to get more things done, so I woke up around 5:30 a.m. to study. I honestly feel more focused and in the zone around this time. Before studying, I opened my study with me video because I have no other study buddy but myself. Man, why does this sound so sad and depressing? Just kidding. But seriously, study with me videos are great if you want a study buddy or if you want to set a study vibe. I also made sure to write my main task. As I was studying throughout the week, I noticed how some areas were still vague to me. So I wrote them down to make sure that I tackled everything. I also wrote the problems I wanted to practice solving. We are following Sakurai's quantum mechanics book, and I have its solution manual, so it'll be easier to check if my answers are correct or if I did the process right. Our professor allowed us to bring our notes to the exam. But I feel like it's not necessary to bring all of my notes, so I decided to just make a formula sheet. For me, open notes exams are like a trap. You feel confident and secure because you have them, but unless you familiarize yourself with the material, then you'll just waste your time frantically flipping through your notes as you search for the right answers. What I did is I arranged the formulas accordingly and grouped them based on the topic they fall into. And then I solved some problems. I usually start with the easy ones, the kind of problems that I'm confident in solving. Solving a problem on your own and getting the right answers on your own is very gratifying. Doing this gives me the confidence and the drive to keep answering practice problems. It keeps you wanting more. Of course, there are problems that are tricky or just difficult. I usually give myself 5 to 10 minutes to figure it out, lay out my plan, and figure out the appropriate formulas to use, or the right principles to apply. Once that time is up and I'm still clueless as a goldfish, then that's when I give in and look at the solution manual. I usually just take a peek at the first few lines to give me a starting point. Once I know how to start, I then try to fill in the next steps. If I get stuck again, I give myself another 5 to 10 minutes to figure it out and then peek at the solution manual again. I repeat the process as needed. But if the problem is extremely difficult, I just read the whole solution, although they still leave out some steps, which is pretty annoying. Doing this makes my studying more efficient. Since I got stuck on a problem and I haven't had my breakfast, I took this an opportunity to take a break. I just heated some leftover food from my dinner. And since I'm just like you, who can't eat without watching YouTube videos, here I am watching this variety show featuring NCT 127. I have set 30 minutes for this break, but I became sleepy after eating, so I decided to take a short nap. If you feel like sleeping, then don't hold yourself back and just sleep. After I woke up, I decided to make some hot tea to hydrate myself. It's always good to have something to drink while studying. I usually go for a matcha latte, but this time I was craving for something clean and refreshing. Then I continued on answering some problems. Whenever I encounter a problem that isn't necessarily tricky but requires me to review some maths, I note it down so I can remember to go through it again. As an example, I forgot how to get a simultaneous eigenket for two operators by diagonalization, so I made sure to take note of it. After a few hours of studying, I got up again and made myself a snack. I had some peanut butter banana toast and some leftover rotini pasta. As I was having my snack, I watched a YouTube video explaining that math concept that I needed to review on. Once I got a grasp on it, I then watched another NCT video. Anyway, so I had my break and now I'm back to answering more problems. This time, I decided to listen to a 17 piano playlist. And although it's just an instrumental with no lyrics, I still fell victim and did a K-pop concert instead of focusing on the problems. Cue in my second K-pop concert. 뜨거웠어요. 다음 데이트도 빨리 했으면 좋겠어요. 예쁜 말 모두 모아서 따라 주고 싶은데 baby 이지고만 답했어. Whoa, whoa. Oh, I gotta stop this. No, it's one hit after another. This is terrible. 울고 싶지 않아. 울고 싶지 않아. Okay, 울고 싶지 않아, so you better study, okay? After I finally held myself back, I then proceeded to actually answer the remaining problems. After some hours of studying, watch me go out of my natural habitat as I go and socialize. My friend was having a small gathering, and although I was having second thoughts of going, I decided to just go and unwind for a bit. Work-life balance, my friends. Work-life balance. When I got home, I tried to answer 1 to 2 problems before going to sleep. The next day, I woke up early because I had to do my laundry. While waiting for it to finish, I also decided to finish the remaining practice problems I have yet to solve. After that, I had my breakfast, took a break, and then did a mock exam. My friend who took this class a year ago gave me the previous exam questions, so I decided to answer them and gave myself a time limit as if I was actually taking the exam. It helped me become more mindful of the time, and it helped me assess my overall understanding. Then I compared my answers with his solutions. Aside from the clumsy sign errors, I think I did pretty well in the mock exam. I also noticed that the problems from the previous exam were similar to what was given in our homework, and so I went through them. I didn't solve them again, I just looked through the process of getting the answer. Okay, so I just have a quick question. So I usually use white grid papers whenever I write my notes on GoodNotes, and most of the time it looks pretty good, looks okay. But for today, I actually decided to use a plain black paper, and is it just me or it actually looks better? Like, I don't know, it just looks neat, and I have more control on, I mean, there's more flexibility on the spacing, because whenever I use these grid lines, it's like I'm just restricted to these lines, to these spacing. You know what I'm saying? And although it looks really neat, I just feel like no grid lines at all is the way to go for me. Like, how about you guys? What do you think? And then the time of judgment has come. I took the exam. It was pretty cold. My hands were shivering as I wrote on the paper, but I can confidently say that I aced it. So here's a little clip of me happy bouncing after I left our classroom. I then made myself a good snack as a treat for a job well done. Anyway, that's it for this video. Sending you all some good vibes and good luck for your upcoming exams. Thank you so much for watching, and see you on my next one. Bye bye!